Hey there everybody, and welcome back to the Son of the Morning channel. What you're looking at in front of you is Fantastic Four Grimm Noir #1 by Gerry Duggan. Now, the reason why I picked up this book here is, well, for starters, I'm a Fantastic Four fan, and second, lately I have very much been a fan of the work that Gerry Duggan has been doing, whether it's his Dead Eyes series over at Image or his work at Marvel on books like The Savage Avengers and Marauders. So, been impressed with him in the last little bit, so saw the name, liked the team, so I decided that to check it out. So let's get into it here, and I'll give you the credits. We have Ron Carney and Gerry Duggan storytellers, color artist Matt Milla, letterer Joe Caramagna, cover artists Ron Carey and Matt Milla, and I guess variant cover artists Eduardo Risso and Christian Rossi. I don't think this is a variant cover. I think this is the regular one. At any rate, this comic is it's a very interesting character study. It seems as though it's a one-shot, but it's a one-shot that is gonna carry purpose moving forward. So basically, the Thing-Ben Grimm is having these horrible dreams. He's having these horrible dreams where he's seeing this awful person who is doing terrible things to both him and his wife, Alicia. And he's taking them and smashing them through the ground, and even the Thing gets smashed to pieces. Now, so you can see here, he's waking up from the dream. He's freaked out by the whole thing. Alicia wants to know why he is so freaked out. So she basically asks him to describe this villain in his dreams that's tormenting them, and she starts sculpting, and they talk about how she's missing the singing voice of the lady from across, I guess in the next building over, used to sing. She used to like to listen to it, but now the voices are gone. She's hoping that there's nothing wrong, but Ben is looking across into her window. He sees some trench-coated men walking around in there, and says that he's not sure everything's okay in there. So he goes out to sort of confront those guys, find out what's going on, finds out that they're actually cops. He says if there's anything the Fantastic Four can do to help, let him know, and they will certainly help it out there. Now, this is very interesting here, too. So, more dreaming, and here we have the neighbor, Rosemary is her name, singing. You can see her there. You can see Ben remembering before he was the Thing, when he was just Ben Grimm. And then, of course, he sees here that this shadow villain person from his dream is attacking Rosemary from across the way, and he needs to figure it out. He just wants to know who this guy is. And so let's see, I just want to flip back quickly here. No, didn't get to that part yet. So, wakes up again, was a horrible dream. He's freaking out about this and goes to the kitchen to get a snack. And at which point, Alicia, who we know is blind, she's a sculptor. He's described what this guy looks like to him. He takes a look at her sculpture and says, "Holy cow." Ads. No. Says, "Holy cow. You basically got, that's him. That's exactly who it is. So he wakes up, Reed and Sue, tries to figure out who these, asks if they know who he is. They aren't sure. So he goes to the Sanctum Sanctorum to see if Doctor Strange is around, so somebody could help him out. When he goes in there, he finds Wong. He says that, you know, he wasn't expecting him to find him there, and because Wong isn't supposed to be there at this time, and he says, oh yes, that's because, and he starts asking him about this guy. He says, do you know who he is? He's a heavy hitter, and he says, oh yes, his name is Despair. So now I guess we have a new villain. And he says, I feed on despair, Benjamin. And so this is the guy who's been haunting his dreams. And then he says he needs to feed like this. He refers to the thing as a 10-course meal. Pretty good stuff. And so you can see in this dream world, he shatters the thing to pieces, and he says, I holler, but I ain't got a mouth. Really interesting stuff here. You can see that Despair has Rosemary, and he's got her captive, and now the Thing is just wants to be strong for her, but he's falling apart. He just feels himself falling. While he's falling, he does seem to manage to put himself back together, at least the rocks of himself back together. And then we get into a really interesting sort of reflection on, this is maybe just sort of Ben reflecting on his life. You can see when he's young, issues with his family. You can see him here saying goodbye to a loved one. Him in the synagogue as a youngster. And then, you know, him having issues on the streets of Brooklyn and stuff like that. And then, of course, this is some fantastic art here. I really like this section here, where this is him reflecting on how he, you know, I guess, went up into space with the Fantastic Four as Ben Grimm, was hit with the cosmic rays and came back as the Thing. So just really, really interesting stuff. Some really good artwork in here, especially with this new Despair character here. And so the Thing just sort of decides he's had enough, and he attacks Despair full on, just runs right into him, screams, I hate nightmares. And so Despair knocks him back, telling him he doesn't scare easily. And, you know, the battle here continues. And so he basically doesn't kill Despair, doesn't defeat him. He isn't defeated, but he does manage to get out of there, does manage to save Rosemary and bring her back to safety, as you can see right here. Now, interesting here, the Thing says to him, and I owe you an apology. I think that bum Despair was feeding off my bad dreams when he heard you, and then she responds, everyone deals with despair, Ben. It was just our turn. Very interesting little character study on Ben here and his inner thoughts, and it's interesting. So now Rosemary becomes friends with the FF, and at the end, Ben is not sure if he's living a dream or not in his fantasy, because everything is going so well now with him and his wife Alicia and their new friend and the rest of the Fantastic Four. And then it says next, follow the Thing and the rest of the team into Fantastic Four number 20. Now, I don't know if this Despair character is going to appear in the Fantastic Four series, because clearly he wasn't defeated. He was only defeated temporarily. It appears to be a one-shot. It would be interesting to see if they decided to do more like this. I was a fan of the previous Noir series, like the Spider-Man Noir and Punisher Noir series. I like things that are a little bit different. I like it when the art is a little bit darker. A little bit of a different aesthetic once in a while is nice to have. And so hopefully there's a number 2, but if not, it was an interesting character study on Ben Grimm, the Thing. And I want to thank you for joining me here today. Please like the video, subscribe to the channel, share the video, also that sorts of good stuff. And we will talk to you later. This is the Son of the Morning. See ya.